Hello, everyone. Over the past several months, we have been reviewing the conditions of participation that are provided to hospitals by CMS. And what we were been trying to do is to review those and make sure we have the right policies and procedures implemented in order to be prepared for the surveyors when they come. And of course, we never know when they are gonna show up at our door. So we definitely want to continue to evaluate what the requirements are and make sure that we're ready when they come. And one of the requirements and the conditions of participation is making sure we provide regular code of conduct training and have associates complete an annual conflict of interest declaration form. This is something that we currently do during orientation. And in the past, we've always provided this code of conduct training, and we've had employees or associates complete the conflict of interest form as well on an annual basis. But over the past several years, we have not been able to do that. So what we're trying to do is put in place a way to allow us to provide this on an annual basis and to make sure we meet that regular training requirement that we have. Fortunately, with UKG and Zoom, we have the opportunity to be able to provide this training a little easier than what we have been in the past, and creates, I think, a lot less administrative burden on the manager, on administration, and on the employee. So over the next several 10 minutes or so, I'm going to be going through the code of conduct. I'm going to explain how to complete the conflict of interest, and I'm going to show you how we can complete this all through UKG. So I'm going to take a few minutes right now and share my screen. Okay, so you can see here, this is a test employee login screen. This should look very familiar to most of you when you log in. If you log in and you go to your home screen, you should have some of this set up. Many of you probably have the My Time sheet. You also should have in your home screen, when you look here, you'll have My Mailbox, and there's a My To Do items, and there's a My Checklist items. We are going to be clicking on My Checklist. However, if for some reason you do not have this widget set up on your home screen, you can also get to your checklist by going up to this bell up here in the corner. And if you click on the bell, you'll also see some different options as well, including My Checklist. So there are two different ways that you can get to My Checklist. I'm going to just kind of get to the checklist here through through your home screen. I'm going to click on My Checklist, and you can see right here it says Code of Conduct and Conflict of Interest Disclosure Training, and I'm going to click Open Checklist. The next thing I'm going to do is, you'll see here on the right side, this is the checklist that says 0 out of 2 completed. And so it's just telling you that you have 2 items to complete in your checklist. If you look on the left side, you click Show More, it has the detailed description here. The same description is listed here on your main screen as well. You can click on it at, the instructions are listed here, but in order to click on the link, you'll want to click on that on the left side. So you can see it says click on the Code of Conduct, the blue Code of Conduct, to download a digital copy, review the document in its entirety, and once reviewed, click on Mark as Complete. So we're going to click here first on the Code of Conduct. It's going to pull up a PDF file, and when you open that up, you will see there's a 7-page document talking about the Code of Conduct. I'm going to give a high review of what is in the Code of Conduct, but I'm not going to go through a lot of details. We are asking people to go ahead and read it on their own. And then if there's any questions, you can, of course, always ask. You can ask HR, you can ask Larry Meyer, who is the Corporate Compliance Officer. The first page is just giving you an introduction, and if you have any concerns about anything billing or coding related or any other thing that we're talking about in the code of conduct, like quality of care, you can contact the corporate compliance hotline that is listed here. You can leave a voicemail, and you can also leave an anonymous message if you feel like you need to. The next section of the code of conduct is talking about patient care. So we have the quality of care, and that we are going to provide care regardless of race, color, religion, sex, age, sexual orientation, physical and mental disability, and source of payment or other classifications protected by law. It talks about emergency treatment, and if any of you have remembered training on EMTALA, that's where EMTALA falls in, Emergency Medical Treatment Active Labor Act. And if anybody presents the ER, we have to provide the ability, or we have to see if they have a medical condition which needs to be taken care of, regardless of their ability to pay, and we have to make sure that they have been stabilized. Patient education, it's the patient's right and our responsibility to work with the patient to make sure they understand and to anticipate their needs. And so you can read through those bulleted items under patient education. Billing and coding. This is making sure we have the right procedures in place to do accurate coding. And in the past, we've talked about what the difference between abuse and fraud would be under billing and coding. And billing abuse would be if you have processes in place that could create issues. That's why we want to make sure we're reviewing our processes and that we have the right thing in place in order to prevent inaccurate billing. And so we look at that all the time. And then fraud is intentionally doing something like intentionally adding a code that didn't happen in order to get payment. So that would be an example of fraud. But we are committed to full compliance, and we will not bill for services not rendered, misrepresent level of services, bill for non-covered services, or inappropriately unbundle services. So unbundling would be if there's like a comp panel that includes a lot of different tests. If we would bill out those all separately, that's called unbundling. We talk about gifts and gratuities, that we do not accept or solicit monetary tips from patients or family members, and we should never accept a gift unless it's something like cookies and candies and different gifts that families or patients may provide at Christmas time and things like that. But sometimes even accepting something as small as a little trinket that doesn't seem like it would have value could have family value. So we just cannot accept gifts from patients and just have to have them understand that. Then we have our conflict of interest, and also what we are going to be signing a declaration form. And this is just disclosing if there's any potential conflict of interest out there. It doesn't mean that if there is a relationship that we'll be disclosing here in a few minutes, that it's a problem, but it could be something we need to have a discussion about, or it could be something that we're not able to have a person work in a certain position with that relationship or that conflict, or they are not able to do that outside the system. But we'll kind of talk about some examples in that situation. The next thing then is the privacy and confidentiality. And this is just saying that, of course, we talk about HIPAA and privacy a lot. This is nothing new to people. We will only access information that we need to know on it, based on our job and our responsibilities within our job. We don't want to share passwords, and that we do routinely audit and monitor computer system activity. Resource management, we want to make sure that we are good stewards of the resources provided by CHCS and not misuse those supplies and stuff that are bought for the purposes of our job. And then compliance with laws and regulation. Under corporate compliance, we talk about antitrust laws, and we don't want to discuss anything that has a particular interest to CHCS with our competitors, such as labor costs and marketing plans. And then the anti-kickback laws, we cannot offer anything that could look as like an inducement to others to get services. So there are those. And then we are, just as a reminder, a nonprofit organization. So anything we do needs to further the good of the organization and not an individual person. And the last thing here is that we do expect CHCS associates to comply with our laws. And if we have any updates to the code of conduct, we will share that accordingly when those happen. So that is, like I said, a very high level review of the code of conduct. And but we do want you to take time to review the code of conduct in more detail, and then let us know if you have any questions. I'm going to go ahead and close the code of conduct now. And we talked, the next part was to say mark as complete. So you can see a button here that says mark as complete, or one up here as well. And so I'm just going to click on this one. I'm going to mark as complete here, and I'm going to enter my password. So this would be the password that you use to log into UKG when you do your time edits, or you clock in and clock out, or when you did the performance reviews. So I don't remember if I entered that right. So let me redo that. I'm going to enter that, and I'm going to hit I agree. And it's saying that I completed that item. So I'm going to hit OK. And then you notice the next thing that pops up is our conflict of interest form. This should look familiar to everybody who's gone through orientation. And most people, we would have filled this out on an annual basis. So for some of you, it may have been a while since you filled it out, but it is something that we have been doing for a while. We want you to go ahead and read this first statement up here and in the instructions. So for the first question is asking, do you or a member of your immediate family act as an officer, director, partner, consultant, representative, agent, advisor, or associate of any business that provides goods to us? And so the reason that could be a problem is it could look like we are not being fair in the market of where we're purchasing supplies. If I have a relative that works for a company that we get supplies from. So it's things like that. And one example would be my husband used to work for water conditioning out of Seneca, and we get our water and salt from them. And so I would disclose that. I would put that down. I, however, was not in a position to make a decision where we got our water. Our salt for this water softeners. So because I didn't make those decisions, it wasn't necessarily a conflict that would have been or it wasn't a relationship that could have caused a conflict for CHCS. So for this, he does not work there anymore. So currently I'm going to put no. However, if he still did work there, I would put yes here, and I would explain what that relationship was. But since he does not, I'm going to put no, and I can leave explanation blank. The next one is the financial, or I'm sorry, then there's, I'm going to back up. So you have question 1A, and then question 1B would be if you act as an officer, director, partner, consultant, advisor, associate of any business, which provides goods or services similar to any facet of business that we provide. And so if you work for sometimes you work for another company, it could be that your spouse works for a different hospital, and it may be a yes. It probably wouldn't maybe cause an issue unless you're in a position of that it could create an issue. So if you were in a director level and your spouse or something were in a director level, that could be, it just kind of depends on what position you're holding and what access that you would have here and what access the conflict person would have. And again, it is just to disclose it. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be an issue, but we just need to know what those relationships are. So I don't have that either. So I'm going to go ahead and keep no for that first question, 1A and 1B. And then on 2, it's asking, do you or a member of your immediate family hold a material or financial interest? And and any business that we do business with. So if you do that, same thing, you click here, and if it's a yes, you're going to put yes and explain it. And I'm going to enter no here. And then I'm going to hit next. I'm going to actually save it first. So I'll hit save, hit OK, and then hit next. And then the next question is asking if you are a member of your immediate family during the last 12 months received any gifts from any business we do business with. And so if you have, you will click here. You're going to put the answer up here. So if you hit yes, you'll explain what that is. If you have not, you'll put no, and you can leave explanation blank. Then you're going to come down here and you're going to read this. I agree to immediately disclose in writing any potential conflict of interest that may develop before the completion of my next annual conflict of interest declaration. And then it says, I have received a copy of CHCS Code of Conduct and understand the provision and agree to adhere to the regulations set forth. And then you're going to say, I've received my training on. So you'll just put the date that you're reviewing this and receiving this training. So it's going to be 03/06. Today's the 7th, 03/07/2023. You'll just put the date that you're reviewing this Zoom meeting, and then when you're going through your checklist, I guess, and then hit sign and save and sign. And then you're going to go ahead and enter your password again. And then you have signed off. I would hit save one more time just to be safe. And then before you're done, you do have to hit submit. So you're going to submit here. And it's just going to make sure that you really want to submit it. So you'll hit submit again, and again, enter your password. Sometimes it takes a few minutes depending on everything else going on the internet. Said completed, form submitted, you're going to hit OK. And it's saying completed, checklist was successfully completed. You'll hit OK. And it's going to bring you back to your home screen. This is, once you hit submit, it starts a workflow that does come to me. I will review it. And if they're, by looking at it, if it, we will take any conflicts that have been disclosed, we would review with the committee. Like I said, most of the time it's just a notification. If we have concerns or if we have questions, we may be following up just to make sure that we are looking out for the best interests of CHCS for you, the employee, and for our patients. So I appreciate the time that you guys have taken to listen to this video and to review how to complete a checklist. And if you have any questions regarding this checklist, regarding the code of conduct, feel free to reach out to me or to Lorraine Meyer, and we can answer those for you. And if we need to look anything up for you, we will do that and get back. I hope you have a good day.